Hello, my name is Chris. I'm a business owner, business seller, and a business broker. Welcome to the Digital Merchant. This is your channel for digital marketing, online business, and growth strategies without all the noise. So today we're going to dive into, is buying an online business worth it? That's actually a really good question. Let's see what we can find out. We're going to kind of cover the benefits and the risks and really kind of see if they swing one way or the other. We'll find out. So investment comparison, if you compare, traditional equities, generally you're going to have a return on average of 7 to 10%, sometimes less, sometimes more, but that's kind of an average. Multifamily real estate as an investment, 4 to 8%, sometimes less, sometimes more. But an online business acquisition, you're at 25 to 45% cash on cash return. That is incredible. I mean, that's day one. Day one, you're stepping into it and you're seeing that kind of a yield is pretty impressive. So I got to give a plus on the acquisition side. Now, what about if you want to start something up? Well, whether it's an online business or a business in general, the statistics show that 90% of businesses will fail within the first 3 years. So that's unfortunate, quite frankly. And then you have the sweat equity where you're not getting paid. You don't really have a proven business model per se. You could be copying somebody else's formula, but either way, it's not proven. So on the plus side, immediate cash flow. I mean, day one, that's awesome. Proven product and market. Clearly there's buyers. Clearly there's a market for what you're selling, whether it's a service or a product. And you've got the relationships with the suppliers, and you've got historical financials. You've got a proven entity. Again, that's a plus. That's a check mark there on the yes, acquire one side. Now we get to the bad news. Some of the risks you have, let's just say if you're an Amazon FBA, well, you're kind of beholden to whatever Amazon wants to do and what changes they make, and so there's risk there because ultimately they may, make a move that goes against what your model is designed to work for, or they may put in restrictions and those kind of things. So that's some risk that you've got to be aware of. Same thing with e-commerce and Meta ads. If Meta changes the way that they do things and or you can get banned and these are things that come out of the woodwork and you can't necessarily prepare for them in advance more often than not. And then content sites as well. If you're with Google, if they're changing their the algorithm, which they do all the time, it may make your business harder to find. So those are three big risks to what you would like to normally see as far as a consistent business model. These things are out of your control, so just be aware of that. So that's kind of a bummer, but that's part of the industry. And this, when you talk about customer concentration, it doesn't matter what business you're involved in, but that's a big one. Generally 20% is the max, and especially lenders get squeamish if you go above that, because that's a big chunk of change, for your business. And it really kind of you lose that one account, that big account, and your numbers are changed overnight. And with an online business, you've got keyword and traffic concentration. So if you only have like a single point that you're getting your customers through, or they're finding you, that's a limitation. So that's another form of a concentration that you don't want to see. You want to have like multiple ways that your customers or clients can get to you from a traffic standpoint and a keyword standpoint as well. So be aware of that. Now, when you're going through something like due diligence, you've got to be a detective. You want to dig in, and you've got to make sure that the payment, whether it's Stripe or PayPal or some other method, matches the tax returns, the P&Ls. You've got to make sure all the numbers make sense. Now, sometimes the P&Ls are internal, so they can have some discrepancies, but you want to make sure that the payment processors match even the bank statements, so you see that the money is actually being made and generated by the company and not some other source. That's a big one. But again, these are really due diligence steps. And then you're auditing the raw analytical data. That's all of the, you're looking for traffic spikes. Was there something that, a one-off fluky thing that really boosted the numbers and it won't happen again, or it can't be recreated? Again, you got to be a detective, especially during due diligence. And then you got to verify the true COGS, which is cost of goods sold, because there's a lot of ways you can boost that or make the cost of goods sold look more impressive than they really are. So again, you got to dig through that, make sure that the inventory and everything matches, and all of the sales and marketing and everything else was put in there. Because if they're hiding something and then you find it too late after you own it, that profit will be affected. So there's many forms of online businesses. You've got SaaS, you've got content and affiliate, and then you have e-commerce and FBA. Well, SaaS is the most profitable of the sectors within the online business. Why? Well, because ultimately it's the revenue quality is much higher. So it commands and demands a higher multiple than the other ones. That's not to say the other ones can't have a high multiple too. It's just the average. These are all averages. Content and affiliate, same thing. You're looking at 2.5 to 4 times. E-commerce, 2.2 to 3.5. They're all still impressive. Those are all impressive nonetheless. But when you see 4.0 to 6.0, that's multiples. That's wild. So, keep that in mind if you're looking for a bigger return. Well, it's going to be SaaS. If you're looking for still a strong return, then it would be the other two sectors. All right, so structuring for capital protection and purchase. The first step before you do anything is thorough due diligence. You want to dig through everything like a detective, see what you can find. And sometimes it's a deal breaker, but also sometimes it's not. It's something that can be fixed or alleviated, or you can work with the seller and you can come to a meeting of the minds and get past it. Another strong one is earnouts. That just kind of puts the seller's feet to the fire. So you as the buyer aren't really assuming all of the risk. They have risk in it too. If they balk at an earnout, sometimes that's a red flag. So be aware of that. Seller notes, another key important one that shows that earnouts and seller notes both show that the seller believes in the business and what he's represented is there. If they balk at both or either one of those, that's definitely a red flag. Especially if you want to get lending. You want to go with a quality lender. Don't go with just any bank you can find. Because this is a relationship you're going to have with them. You want a strong relationship with that lender, and you want to know that they're strong too. And as well, SBA too. You want somebody who's qualified and capable and is familiar with the SBA process. But ultimately, if you do go that direction, there will be a seller note. That's just part of the way that they do. They want to guarantee that the seller has skin in the game, so to speak. But again, performance earnouts, super important. That's something you really want to kind of push for. And seller notes, it's going to be required definitely for SBA lending, and usually commercial lending as well, if you do go that direction. So what would I recommend? I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Yes, the risk is there, but if I were looking for an online business, I would want to pick, the best options that are out there. Well, how do you do that? You don't, there's so many options. You can use the marketplaces, or you can go directly to a brokerage that has listings. Well, the better the brokerage, I've found, the stronger the listings. Why? Well, because they dig through the listings, and then they do their own kind of due diligence. Again, you have to do your own due diligence, but I like to know that I've got a business that's kind of been pre-screened. And Quiet Light, what they do is, and Quiet Light's a business brokerage that literally every single broker has been in the online business arena. They've owned them, they've started them, they've sold them, or all three. I love that because with my background, there's very few brokerages that I've seen that has that business model. So you're dealing with people that are industry talented and industry knowledgeable. Okay, so I want that. What else do I want? Well, I want to, when I'm looking at a business, I want to know that somebody's, kind of scrutinized it. Well, Quiet Light literally, they're very particular. They don't take every business. They're not like some of these marketplaces where they'll, you throw anything out there and they'll take it. No. They scrutinize it. And if it's not quality, they're not going to take it. Why? Because it's a waste of time and they know it's not going to sell. And then it also would give them a bad reputation. So it's like, I love the fact that they do scrutinize the businesses in advance. Again, you still got to do your own due diligence, but that's a great place to start. With my background, I know there's a lot of bad businesses out there on the market, and you've got to be very, very particular about what you're looking for and what you really want out of it. You want to buy the best you can, go with an expert, go with somebody like Quiet Light. There's no pressure, there's no, they're very confidential. You can reach out to them, see their listings, and ideally get some more information about them. But that's where I would start. If I were looking for a business, go with the best brokerage you can. Quiet Light's awesome. I was super impressed with their whole the whole way that they conduct business. And I think that's where I would start if I were looking for a business. So I hope this video helps a little bit. It's got some extra knowledge into it. I'm your digital merchant. I'm actually trying to help you trade effort for efficiency. So subscribe and stay digital. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time.